Let's cut the fluff. Most women today have more options than ever before. If she's not interested in you, it's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're not standing out. But here's the secret most men never learn. You don't need her interest. You just need to trigger the right emotion. And when you understand how to do that using subtle psychological cues, even the most disinterested woman will start to see you differently. Let's break it down. This isn't about fake tricks or cheesy lines. It's about real psychological strategies that work on a deeper level. We're talking emotional attraction, the kind that bypasses logic and hits her core. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 powerful triggers that flip the dynamic and make her see you as the man she never expected. Let's get into it. 1. Reverse the energy flow. Most men chase women by default. It's the oldest dynamic in the book. The man pursues, the woman chooses. But what if I told you that flipping that script is the fastest way to spark attraction, especially when she's not initially interested? The truth is, when a woman senses that a man is emotionally invested before she even feels anything, her brain categorizes him as low value. Why? Because it feels like he's trying to sell himself, like he needs her approval to validate his worth. And no woman is emotionally drawn to a man who puts her on a pedestal too soon. She might enjoy the attention, but she'll never desire him. Reversing the energy flow means making her feel like she's trying to win your interest, not the other way around. And it starts with a mindset shift. You are the prize. You're not here to prove anything. You're not here to impress. You're here to observe, to evaluate, to see if she meets your standards. This subtle shift changes everything about your behavior. You speak slower, you make fewer compliments, you don't initiate as much, you don't chase validation. Instead, you let her lean in, you let her wonder. You let her feel slightly off balance, curious about what you think, why you're not reacting like other guys, why you're not flooding her with energy. And this is where it gets powerful. That curiosity creates emotional tension, and emotional tension is the seed of attraction. Because when a woman doesn't quite know where she stands with you, her brain starts searching for clues. She replays your interactions. She checks your social media. She looks for signs of interest. In other words, she starts chasing. You're not being cold. You're being disciplined. You're not ignoring her. You're controlling the flow of energy in the interaction. And the less you give too early, the more she values every piece of attention you do offer. Think about it. If a guy shows up instantly giving everything, compliments, time, attention, she knows exactly where he stands. There's no mystery, no challenge, no reward. But if you give her just enough to spark interest and then pull back slightly, her mind stays active. Her emotions stay engaged. This is why the most attractive men aren't always the best looking. They're the ones who know how to control the dynamic. They don't seek interest, they inspire it. They don't chase, they attract. So next time you meet a woman who seems disinterested, don't try harder. Don't over-communicate. Don't sell yourself. Instead, reverse the energy flow. Let her wonder why you're not like the rest. Let her feel the pull of your silence, your stillness, your confidence. Because the man who holds his frame, calmly, unapologetically, is the man she never saw coming. 2. Show her selective presence. In a world where most men are available at a moment's notice, always texting back, always trying to stay relevant in her life, being selectively present is one of the most attractive things you can do. Why? Because when you control your availability, you control your value. Let's make something clear. Being selectively present doesn't mean playing games. It means you respect your time and energy. It means you're not going to pour yourself into someone who hasn't earned it. And that, in itself, is rare. When a woman sees that you're not constantly trying to stay on her radar, it makes her pause. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing me like the others? That pause creates psychological tension. It forces her to think about you. Not because you're forcing your presence into her life, but because she's not sure when she'll hear from you again. This taps into a psychological trigger called variable reinforcement. It's the same principle casinos use to keep people addicted. Unpredictable responses keep the brain engaged. When you're not always available, your attention becomes a reward. something she values, something she wants more of, not something she's entitled to. Most guys are predictable. They respond to every text within seconds. They like every photo. They comment. They validate. They show up constantly. And because of that, women start to tune them out. It becomes background noise. But the man who disappears for a day or two, who responds when he has time, who isn't constantly checking in, suddenly becomes a mystery, a man with purpose, a man with things going on. That's magnetic. Here's the trick. When you do show up, be fully present. Speak with intention. Make her feel your energy. Let her know that when you give attention, it's powerful, but not guaranteed. You're not a constant, you're a variable, and variables are exciting. You're not ignoring her to play hard to get. You're living your life, and if she fits into it, great. If not, you're still good. That level of detachment is intoxicating to women because it signals emotional strength. It shows that you're not desperate for validation. And when she realizes that you're not trying to stay relevant in her world, she starts trying to stay relevant in yours. That's when the dynamic shifts. So next time you feel the urge to keep the conversation going, just to keep her attention, stop. Ask yourself, is this adding value, or am I just trying to stay on her mind? Because the man who chooses when to show up and does it with confidence doesn't just attract attention, he commands it. Selective presence is about more than space. It's about creating anticipation. And when she starts to anticipate your presence, even if she wasn't interested before, now she is. 3. Trigger the scarcity principle. Here's a brutal truth that most men never accept. What is easily available is rarely valued, and that includes your time, your energy, and your attention. If she feels like she can have you whenever she wants, without effort or delay, she will never chase you. Period. This is where the scarcity principle comes in. A deeply rooted psychological trigger that makes people value what's limited. The moment something feels exclusive, rare, or hard to obtain, our brains automatically perceive it as more desirable. It's not just emotional, it's evolutionary. Think about it. When a woman knows you're always free to talk, always quick to respond, always ready to meet, you're sending one loud message: no one else wants me right now. Whether you mean to or not, you're signaling that your time isn't in demand, that your life isn't full, that she's your top priority, even before she's shown any interest. And that's a huge turnoff. But when she senses that your attention is not freely given, that you're busy, focused, and living a life of purpose, she subconsciously assumes that others see your value too. That perception alone raises your worth in her mind. Now she's not just looking at you, she's evaluating you. Why isn't he chasing me like the others? What makes his time so valuable? The key to triggering the scarcity principle is not faking it. It's actually building a life where your time is scarce. Have goals, have commitments, have hobbies. Go to the gym, work on your business, meet new people. Create a lifestyle where you don't have time to chase women, and you won't need to because the right ones will chase you. When you do talk to her, make it meaningful. Be present. Be sharp. Let her feel that when she gets a moment of your attention, it's intentional and rare. Don't overshare. Don't over-explain why you were too busy. Just let your limited availability speak for itself. That's what makes her lean in. You're not punishing her. You're not being cold. You're creating contrast. And contrast is what makes desire burn. If you're always there, she never gets a chance to miss you. But if she starts to feel your absence, even slightly, she starts filling that silence with emotion. Is he talking to someone else? Did I say something wrong? Why hasn't he texted back? That internal dialogue is exactly what you want. Because the moment she starts questioning your availability, she's no longer indifferent. She's emotionally engaged. So stop offering your time like it's free. Guard it. Protect it. Share it wisely. Because when she realizes that your attention is a privilege, not a given, her disinterest will turn into curiosity. And curiosity is the doorway to attraction. 4. Let silence do the talking. Here's something few men ever master: the art of strategic silence. Most guys think attraction is built through witty lines, long conversations, or constant communication. But in reality, silence is a far more powerful tool, because silence creates tension, and tension creates desire. When you're silent, you give her space to think, to reflect, to wonder what you're thinking. And when a woman starts wondering about you, even if she wasn't initially interested, she's now emotionally involved. Most men rush to fill silence because they're uncomfortable with it. They crack jokes, ramble nervously, or overshare just to keep things comfortable. But comfort doesn't create attraction, mystery does. Imagine you're in a conversation with a woman. She asks a question, and instead of rushing to respond, you pause. You hold eye contact. You think. That pause, that stillness, creates a ripple of curiosity in her mind. It breaks the rhythm she's used to. It tells her, this man doesn't need to impress me. Silence also demonstrates self-control. It shows that you don't feel pressured to win her over. You're calm, composed, and a man who doesn't need to fill every gap with words is a man who's comfortable with himself. And that's magnetic. When she texts you, don't always reply instantly. Let her sit in anticipation. When you're together, don't feel the need to dominate the conversation. Let her speak. Let her fill the silence. The less you say, the more she wants to know. Silence builds unspoken connection. It's that lingering energy between words. The glance you hold a little too long. The smile you give without explanation. The space between your presence and your next move. That's what makes her heart race. So if you want to stand out, learn this. Speak less, mean more. Let your vibe carry the message. Be the man who doesn't try too hard to prove anything. Let her feel your energy in the quiet. Because when you master silence, you stop trying to impress and start making her feel something she can't quite explain. And that's what gets under her skin, even if she didn't see you coming. 5. Master the art of indirect attention. One of the most underused tools in attraction is indirect attention, giving just enough interest to make her curious, but not so much that she feels in control. See, most guys put women on a pedestal the second they find them attractive. They stare too long, compliment too early, or make it obvious they're interested. And in doing so, they kill the intrigue. It's like handing her a wrapped gift and telling her what's inside before she opens it. There's no suspense, no tension. But when you master the art of indirect attention, you flip the dynamic. You don't ignore her, you acknowledge her subtly. You let her feel noticed without making her the center of your world. You glance, then look away. You smile, but don't chase. You make a comment that's playful but not needy. You show confidence without begging for reciprocation. This approach triggers psychological contrast. She feels your presence but doesn't fully understand your intentions. That unknown pulls her in. It makes her curious about how you see her. That curiosity leads to emotional investment. You can also create indirect attention through social proof. Be seen talking to others, laughing, leading conversations. If she sees other people valuing your presence, especially other women, it signals that you're desired, even if you're not focusing on her directly. That indirect social pressure activates her competitive instincts. She starts wondering if she's missing out. The magic is in the balance. Too much attention makes her feel in control. Too little makes you invisible. But just enough, delivered with emotional composure, makes her chase. She starts thinking, why is he not trying harder? That question alone flips the power dynamic. And here's the secret. Women remember how you made them feel, not what you said. So when you create subtle, emotionally ambiguous moments, those linger longer in her mind than any line or compliment. Don't be obvious. Be intentional. Be a mystery that draws her in, not a fan that follows her around. Indirect attention isn't about manipulation. It's about creating space for her to lean in and meet you halfway. Because the man who doesn't announce his interest with words, but with calibrated energy, is the one she can't stop thinking about. 6. Stay emotionally grounded. Emotional grounding is your greatest weapon in attraction, especially when a woman isn't initially interested. Most men let their emotions rise and fall based on her reactions. If she smiles, they get excited. If she pulls back, they panic. That kind of behavior signals emotional instability, and it's one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. But a grounded man, he's unshakable. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't get thrown off by silence, rejection, or mixed signals. He moves at his own pace. He's calm in chaos, confident in confusion, rooted in his own frame. When you're emotionally grounded, you communicate something powerful. I don't need your approval to feel whole. And that is the most attractive energy a man can emit. Think about how rare this is in today's world. Most men are reactive. They try harder when a woman pulls away. They overshare when they feel insecure. They get defensive when challenged. But the grounded man remains still, present, calm. That calmness gives off leadership energy. It tells her, you're not trying to win her over. You're letting her qualify for you. You're in control of yourself and therefore in control of the interaction. It also helps you pass her tests. Women naturally test men's emotions, not out of cruelty, but instinct. They want to feel safe around a man who doesn't crumble. If she throws a sarcastic comment, ignores a message, or acts cold, and you remain unaffected, you immediately set yourself apart. The best part? Emotional grounding isn't something you say, it's something you radiate through your tone, your eye contact, your pacing, your body language. She can feel when you're not desperate for her validation. So if she's not showing interest right away, don't chase. Don't shift your personality. Don't start explaining yourself. Just stay calm. Let her emotional waves crash against your inner stillness. She'll start to feel drawn to your energy, not because you tried to impress her, but because you didn't break under pressure. Emotional grounding says, I'm enough, with or without you. And that's exactly the kind of man she never saw coming, but suddenly can't forget. 7. Withdraw with intent. When a woman pulls away, most men lean in harder. They send long texts, try to fix things, and show her they care, all in an attempt to regain her interest. But here's the truth. Chasing her when she's losing interest only confirms she has the power. The better move? Withdraw. Not out of spite, not to manipulate, but to re-establish emotional balance. Intentional withdrawal does one thing very well. It gives her space to feel your absence. That space is where reflection happens, where curiosity builds, where desire re-emerges. When you withdraw, you stop feeding the emotional connection. No texts, no calls, no checking in. You shift your focus entirely back to your mission, your purpose, your growth. And that shift doesn't go unnoticed. She starts wondering, did I push him away? Was he even that into me? Here's where the psychology kicks in. Humans don't chase what's always there. They chase what they might lose. And when you pull back with calm indifference, you create the possibility of loss in her mind. That's when her attraction can start to reignite. It also forces her to evaluate the situation. If she felt nothing for you, your silence won't affect her. But if there was even a spark, a hint of interest, that silence becomes deafening. And it makes her think. Withdrawal works best when done from a place of power, not pain. You're not disappearing to punish her. You're removing yourself to regain your self-respect. You're showing her, I don't chase disinterest. I don't convince. I walk. And if she comes back, great. You now have the upper hand. If she doesn't, even better. You just saved yourself from over-investing in someone who never saw your worth. Either way, you win. 8. Make her chase emotional depth. Here's the final and most powerful trigger. Emotional depth, but on your terms. Most men think sharing their emotions early will create connection. But when you reveal too much too soon, you give away your mystery, your power, your edge. There's no challenge, no depth to explore. And without emotional challenge, attraction fades. Women are emotional beings. But they don't just want emotion, they want earned emotion. They want to feel like they've unlocked something in you that no one else has. That emotional exclusivity makes them feel chosen, not just one of many. So don't hand over your inner world like a free sample. Let her earn it. Let her peel back the layers. Let her wonder what you're really about. That doesn't mean being cold or closed off. It means being emotionally disciplined. You're warm, but not needy. Open, but not oversharing. Real, but not emotionally chaotic. You're in control of what you share and when. And when she gets glimpses of your vulnerability, it hits different. Because it's rare, it's sincere, it's not for attention. It's a reward for her effort. That kind of depth, that's what makes a woman feel something lasting. That's what transforms initial disinterest into genuine desire. Because now she's not just attracted to you, she's emotionally invested in figuring you out. Attracting a woman who isn't interested isn't about chasing harder. It's about understanding her psychology. The moment you shift from needing her to commanding presence, the entire game changes. If you found this video valuable, drop a comment, smash that like button, and subscribe for more powerful breakdowns just like this. And if you're ready to take your dating game to the next level, check the description for our exclusive masterclass. Until next time, stay grounded, stay rare, and stay in control.